Hi, I'm Marna, and today we're going to do a Thanksgiving craft with our Baby Alive dolls. What we're going to do is make a Thanksgiving Day print bib for our Baby Alives, because what is Thanksgiving about? Well, it's not really about the meal, but that's what it's become. In the song, "We Gather Together," that has two meanings, and you might not know this, but not only does it mean that we gather together for that great big meal, but what it also meant back in the olden days, or even today for some families, is that families came together and helped one another gather the foods and corns and their farm products off of their farms, and then they sat down to the big meals. So they gathered and they gathered. You can do this, obviously, in any print that you want, but I thought it'd be cute to use a Thanksgiving print since it's the season. And what you will need for this particular DIY that we're doing today is fabric, your print fabric, a wash rag. It can be old or new, doesn't really matter. I like a waterproof, this is a raincoat fabric between the top layer and the bottom layer of the bib. What I also found with my real babies is those itty bitty bibs, you're going to make a mess on their clothes. If you make a big bib that covers the front of their clothing, then you will save their clothing, be able to wipe their mouths with it, take the bib off, and since it's waterproof, you don't have the mess on the clothing. So that's what we're making for Baby Alive. And I'm going to make one for this bigger doll, but if you were using a smaller Baby Alive or any doll, just take a cup or a bowl and hold it to the front of your doll. And you want it to cover the clothing and down the doll, because these dolls especially actually eat. The first thing you need with your doll is a fabric that has a print that is small. If this were bigger and said gobble gobble, by the time you cut it, it would probably say ob. So you want a small print, and then you take your fabric, and you don't take your bowl and put it in the middle of the fabric. You go as close to the edge as you can. That was cut. Came from the fabric store. I swear they use an axe anymore when they cut that out. So lining that up straighter, we want to take this all the way down to the edge as far as we can, and all the way to the side and the bottom that we can. And we're just going to mark this. If you want the same fabric in the back of your bib as you do in the front of your bib, then cut double. If you don't, I'm going to have the wash rag in the back so that I can wipe her face with the back of it. So I only need one layer of the fabric. And the other marking I'm going to do is I'm going to use a cup and cut this out for her neck. Now, you can basically cut it high, and that will cover the front of her, but it won't cover the neck. I found with human babies, you want that bib to kind of come back up over the shoulder, because not only do they make a mess out of their mouths, they also look around when they're eating. And if you don't have something up over here, guess what? That sleeve gets messed up. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring this down and line that fabric up. And where'd my pen go? Here we are. We're going to mark that bib, and that's what you will have. Now we're going to cut out 3 of these. 1 layer of your top, 1 layer of your bottom, and 1 layer of the raincoat fabric. For this particular bib, since we're not going to turn this inside out, we are going to use it as is with the bias tape around the edge. I have the raincoat in the middle. if I were turning this inside out, as I do some bibs, or did when my kids were little, I would have the raincoat on the back, because you want your front and your back. I would have my washcloth on top of this facing the gobble gobble, and the raincoat on top of the washcloth, because when you turn that inside out, that would be your front to your back with this in the middle. I used safety pins on here because I like, for beginner crafters, when they're watching me, my DIYs, to be able to see a safe way to do it. Now, if I were doing this just for me off camera, I might have straight pins on here. But this is a good way to teach your children and your grandchildren how to make and sew for their dolls. Okay, and then just cut out around your bib. Okay, I got to the sewing machine and I sat down, and the bias tape that I had was single fold, and you need double fold. And I already had yellow thread in my machine, and I don't have any melon colored, so we're using yellow. And what you're going to do is you're going to tuck all 3 layers of your bib into between the bias tape, and then you're going to, with a zigzag stitch, sew that all the way around your bib. You do not have to tuck under at the top. Not only does the zigzag give it a little extra pop, it also helps you catch all the layers of your fabrics in between the bias tape, so that it's nice and clean. The next thing you're going to do is take bias tape, and I like bibs that are made to tie in the back. I think it's really important for children. That's how we learned to tie things. We tied our bibs before we tied our shoes on our little dolls. What you're going to do is take the end of the bias tape, fold it over just a little bit, tuck that in well, start your stitch on the outside of your bias tape, bringing that down about, I don't know, what is that, about a foot? And then at that point where you have enough to tie your bow in the back of the bib on the far side of the neck, you tuck your neck into the bias tape, come around, and then make an equal amount line, tucking the end in as you did on that side. You can make these bibs up for any size doll or even a human child. You can make these and take them as gifts for Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas, or any kind of fabric print. Just remember to keep the print small for the little guys. It's also a great craft to teach your children and your grandchildren. Sit down with them for 20 minutes and they're going to remember that for probably a lifetime. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe.